The year is 1994, and in just 100 days, some 800,000 people were slaughtered in Rwanda by ethnic Hutu extremists. How did that happen? By the early 1990s, Rwanda was facing mounting pressures from within. Despite its small size, this heavily agricultural nation had one of the highest population densities in Africa. Around 85% of the population identified as Hutu, and the remaining portion largely Tutsi, and a small group of Twa, also known as the Pygmy people, who are the original inhabitants of the place. To understand Rwanda's complex social structure, we need to look back to its colonial era. Rwanda first became part of German East Africa in 1897. However, after Germany's defeat in World War I, the League of Nations assigned Rwanda and neighboring Burundi to Belgium control. Under Belgium rule, tensions between Rwanda's ethnic groups only deepened. The Belgian authorities chose to favor the Tutsi minority, granting them position of authority over the majority Hutu population. This colonial policy amplified the tendency of few to oppress the many, planting seeds of resentment and division. By the time Rwanda approached independence, these tensions were all at boiling point. The legacy of colonial favoritism left a fractured society at the brink of comfort, one that would ultimately explode into violence and reshape the country's future. In 1959, a powerful Hutu revolution erupted, reshaping Rwanda's social and political landscape. This uprising forced nearly 300,000 Tutsis to flee the country, reducing them to even a smaller minority within Rwanda. Then, in early 1961, the Victorian Hutus exiled Rwanda's Tutsi monarch and declared the country a republic. A United Nations referendum followed later that year, officially setting Rwanda on the path to independence. By July 1962, Belgium formally withdrew, leaving the newly formed Republic of Rwanda to chart its own course. However, independence didn't bring stability. Ethnic violence remained a grim feature of Rwanda's reality. In 1973, as tensions grew, and later a group staged a coup, placing Major General Habyarimana, a moderate Hutu, at the helm of the government. Over the next 20 years, this newly established ruler would rule Rwanda with the iron grip. He founded the National Revolution Movement of Development, a political party he used to consolidate power. Under a newly ratified constitution, he was elected president in 1978 and then re-elected in 1983 and in 1988, each time running completely unopposed. But Habyarimana's regime was marked by growing unrest. As his government restricted political position and centralized control, long-standing ethnicity tension and economic pressures continued to simmer under the surface, setting the stage for a looming crisis. Rwanda was shaken by an invasion from the north. Forces of Rwandese Patriotic Front, a group primarily made of Tutsi refugees, crossed into Rwanda from neighboring Uganda. Their mission was clear: reclaim a place in their homeland and challenge the dominance of Habyarimana's regime. Habyarimana responded swiftly and harshly. He accused Tutsi civilians of aiding the RPF and ordered the mass arrest of hundreds of Tutsi residents. Between 1990 and 1993, government officials organized targeted massacres, killing hundreds of Tutsis in brutal campaign in an attempt to erase the RPF influence. After years of bloodshed, a temporary ceasefire was finally reached. In 1992, the government and the RPF agreed to negotiations, resulting in what would be known as the Arusha Peace Accords. In August of 1993, President Habyarimana signed the Arusha Accords in Arusha, Tanzania. The agreement laid the foundation for a power-sharing government that would include a RPF, a significant step towards peace. However, this did not sit well with everyone in the country. To Hutu extremists, this power-sharing agreement was a betrayal. Fueled by anger and fear of losing control, they began to organize opposition to the peace process. The seeds of distrust and hatred, already deep-rooted, were now poised to explode, setting Rwanda on a dangerous path. On the night of April 6, 1994, a plane carrying Rwandan President Habyarimana and Burundi's president was shot down as it approached Kigali, Rwanda's capital. Both presidents were killed instantly, sparking a catastrophe.